Once in a while, we got people come in this shop and they think they have a gold mine. And I'm here to explain why your vintage slot car stuff probably isn't worth anything. So the first things we're going to talk about the track and the cars. And I'm going to start with the track first because it's pretty easy. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that a lot of vintage slot car track is going to need a little bit of polish. It's going to need a little bit of TLC to get working right. And it would take me hours to do that. I restored an AFX track before, just a little one. And man, how long did it take me to do? Like a week?
Excessively long.
It was way too long. And AFX are skinny little rails. So when people come to me like, oh, I got like 300 feet of track, I'm like, okay, cool. You can restore it. I still wouldn't even sell it because of point 2, which is modern day slot car tracks come a long way. And it's a lot less maintenance. And I want to point out this one last point here too. Even if because some of you guys seem to think that if the right collector comes along who has already invested in a big slot car track of a certain brand, that they're going to want to stick to the same brand. But look at this. This is adapter track. Whoops. You can get pieces made, especially with the age of 3D printing. I don't see converting track to be that big of a deal. A lot of people aren't purists. They'll go for the easier to make track and keep the pain in the butt stuff. They'll mix and match. It's just not worth it. It's just it wouldn't even be worth it for me to restore it. It's not going to be worth it for you to restore it. I've had so many people come in the store, actually, Amanda, that already have vintage tracks, and they just switch their career because they're sick and tired of doing all the maintenance on it. And I completely understand. So yeah, vintage tracks just not gonna happen. I can almost guarantee you I will never buy your vintage track, and the amount of effort you're going to have to put in to make it sellable, it's just not gonna be, it's not worth it for you either. Like, don't even buy. You can put it on Facebook Marketplace, try to sell it to somebody, but if you have any common sense, don't buy used secondhand track that's vintage. You can buy more modern slot car track that's used and get yourself a good deal in some cases, but never do vintage. Okay, so let's do the cars next. And why don't you hold up this car? Because this is not a vintage car. This is a more modern car, but show underneath. Why don't you show underneath? Do you see these brushes here? Do you see how they don't pop out? Do you see how, like, I think this is even attached. This flag here is attached to that assembly. Okay. Now, can you put that car up? That's the chassis itself. I mean, like, show the chassis, So we can see here, this is a pretty older, style car. But this is also an older style car. And I think the designs look pretty similar. That's definitely way more vintage than this. But the point is that older cars get reprints in with more modern technology. Like here we have these brushes will pop off. I'm trying to do this in a good angle, and then I can just pop them back on. Like that's the main problem vintage slot cars have is if the car is popular, right? If it's a popular design in real life, not in slot car life, in real life, it tends to get a reprint, if not from Kerr, from another company. Like they get reprinted. And I think we posted recently an orange car that was done by one of our customers. If you want to say that customer's name, this is his first name.
Rick?
Yeah, Rick. I mean, you run the Instagram, so you should know that. That's just why I'm bringing it up. So Rick did remodeled a vintage toy into a slot car. And I'm like, yeah, that looks cool. It's cool because it's odd, but it's not something most people are going to be collecting. You know what I mean? Like you're going to want to have more. You're going to want more modern decals. So some people were probably ready to jump on me, be like, well, some of the older molds, they still get, they're still reusing them, so you don't get as much detail on them. Yeah, but look, here's an older mold, and you can see all the decal printing got a lot better. So even if some of these older molds still get used, when they get reprinted and redone by modern slot car companies, they still look a lot better, especially like the paint jobs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can probably tell that this mold, if you take a look here, you can see the
doorknob. The
doorknobs and everything isn't as deep. Like right here, that's not as deep as what you'd find in a more modern design. And this is like a recently released car, but Carrera's just using the same mold that they always did. But the details on it for the paint and stuff, like look at the chicken on this thing. It's leagues better. So why would you want to have if there exist vintage versions of this car, why would you want to have a vintage version when you could get a more modern version of an older slot car, like an older car? You know what I mean? Like this reprint here is way better detail than the vintage. Now, okay, I'm gonna end this because I know people are gonna be jumping on me with one more thing. I want to say one more thing. I said vintage, I didn't say old. Maybe next video we're gonna go into why Carrera digital cars, or I think a lot of the digital systems. I'm just gonna say Carrera digital because that's what I know and that's what I'm comfortable with. Why these things tend to hold value.
Okay.
But if you're looking to get some, modern slot cars that are easy to work on, go to sunday-slot-cars.square.site, and you can tell people our social media and stuff.
Sure. So you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram. Clearly YouTube, because this is where you are watching right now. So please subscribe if you want to get more of our content. Like this video and maybe comment below
what you think. By the by, Scalado, if you guys want to get back to me, you can get some free simping and we can sell some product like Carrera gets. But you guys, when that distributor found out we were Canadian, that's when that deal just kind of dropped, which was really sad because we crossed the border to pick it up. So it's not like you're delivering it to Canada. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.